date is Tuesday, January 8th. We did run over just a few minutes on our previous work session, which we hosted a work session to reference the audit, the City of Utica audit, which turned out to be in our favor. Everything worked out okay. Additionally, we had a work session to discuss the potential sale or the keeping of the property at Riverside 175. Time is 7:40. This time, can I please have everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Brian Cook, lead us out in the Pledge of Allegiance, sir.
All right. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Ms. Ricketts, can you please call the roll?
Sikora?
Here.
Terenzi? Cuddington?
Here.
Sylvester?
Here.
Calandrino?
Here.
O'Donnell?
Here.
Deanne?
Here.
One absent.
All right, very good. Ms. Terenzi's absent. She'll be joining us, I think, next month or maybe the month after. Yeah, in March. She is away on vacation. Lucky her. So, Council, you had the minutes from December 11th, 2018 presented to you previously. Are there any subtractions, additions, or deletions?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of December 11, 2018 as presented.
So it's it's moved by Mr. Sikora, supported by Mr. Cuddington. Any discussion on the matter? Very good. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. Motion carries. Council, I'm going to introduce, going forward, if there's no objections, the Robert's rules are going to extend the idea of having a yea or nay vote on things that are less detrimental or less concerning short of purchases or ordinances or anything to that effect. So in those instances, we will take roll call votes, okay? Or if there is opposition, we will then take a roll call vote. In order to make our council meetings move at a little bit faster pace, we're going to be using the yea or nay system, which has been previously adopted by this council years past. Okay, any opposition to that?
I would like, on anything important, that we do take an actual roll
Yep.
call vote.
Yeah, and any member of council can certainly call for a roll call vote at any one time during the meeting, okay? Any concerns? All right, council. Okay, we will have a public hearing meeting, two public hearings at 8 p.m. reference our Parks and Recreational Master Plan update and fiscal year 19 Community Development Block Grant Funds allocations as well. So those will take place. We do have the agendas here on the green. If you didn't get one, they're on the podium. And anyone that's in the audience tonight is certainly welcome to make their way to the podium and make public comment on anything that's on the agenda. Okay? If there's anything that you have that's off topic, you're certainly welcome to make those comments at the end of the evening. Okay? But for now, if you want to address any one item that you're concerned about, you're certainly welcome to make your way to the podium and address council. Anyone at this time? Okay, we'll show that as none. And tonight we have some Utica chieftains with us tonight. And what class do you guys have? Swanson, AP Government. So you guys, are you juniors or seniors? Juniors. So did you go this year to the Student Government Day? Yeah? Miss Mal, is that the day? Is Miss Swanson here with y'all? Okay, at some point you guys will come here for Student Government Day. We play mock government. Y'all get to be like the mayor or city councilman. Okay, you don't have to be bald or gray hair, but you get all the fun, right?
But you got to be close.
That's right. So, good. Welcome, chieftains. Myself as a fellow chieftain here, class 1991, and much, much older, class 1990, Linda McGraw, our city attorney. So, all right, Linda. So, okay, on to our unfinished business. We had our code enforcement request. Council, last council meeting, I had requested of you that we consider increasing the hours to no greater than 20 hours for code enforcement. And Mr. Paternoster, we did talk about the pay scale and the number of hours required less than 20 hours. Council, did I have a question for you that was, I believe, what would the pay scale be, or how is it going to affect the annual payment for the budget for that? Do you have any input?
Other than, what I presented in this memo that I believe is in your packet, the proposal that was brought last month was to increase the code enforcement, and I'm going to say zoning code enforcement, to 20 hours per week. Since we're already halfway through the fiscal year, the impact on the budget for the general fund appears to be approximately $5,580 in wages and $430 in FICA taxes. There was a question of whether combining the hours of building code enforcement with zoning would have an impact on healthcare. That was in this proposal that I put forth to you. I believe the mayor, you are alluding to a decision to make sure that those hours are kept below that. So those medical and dental numbers would not be included.
So what was figured with Mr. Hicks, who's our current code enforcement officer and also our building inspector, if it's the idea that he spends 15 hours in 1 week performing building enforcement, or building code enforcement, I should say, building inspections. If he were to spend 15 hours doing that, it'd be the case that we would spend 14 hours or less doing code enforcement. So that way he would be 29 hours or less so that he would therefore not be considered a full-time employee, when that would make it so that he would not be subject to health insurance, et cetera, et cetera. Also, and I feel very strongly that Mr. Hicks is the right person for the job because he is, one, tenacious. He is a complimentary, a bulldog a little bit. You can't intimidate him. You know, if you'd say this needs to be fixed, a homeowner's simply not going to intimidate him because he's seen everything, he's been around, he's well-skilled, and he's very knowledgeable. Not only does he have the code enforcement drive, but he also has the building background to know when, something's supposed to be done properly. So Mr. Hicks has been my selection for that position. Again, it would be a combination of code enforcement and building inspection hand in hand, and it would be the total of 29 hours or less. So it'd be the case that, again, building inspections, and then the remainder would be dedicated towards code enforcement, less 29 hours. Mr. Cunnington?
Yeah, is that $5,000 added to what he's already making, or is that total?
No, that's in addition to what he's already performing. Okay, we are going from an estimate of 312 hours in the year to a total of 1,040 hours in the year, but because we're already halfway through the fiscal year, we're only adding the difference in the increase for half of a year.
So if we continue, then the next fiscal year would be $10,000, is what you're saying?
Yeah. It would go from, well, we budgeted 6,240 at 312 hours. It would go up significantly. I didn't make that calculation here because the exercise that I was asked for was what's it going to cost us this year.
You got it. All right, putting Ken on the job. 14,000. Okay. Ken's working.
You're gonna have a total increase if we go from 312 hours to 1,000, what did you say, 40 hours. You're gonna have a total cost of roughly $30,000, okay, for the position. The discussions that led up to this was, we can have this great city, everybody that wants to improve their properties or maintain their properties, do a good job. And unfortunately, you have those people who want to make no effort, and they can be your next door neighbor, they can be somebody down the street. All of a sudden, you have trucks and trailers and everything there. And unless we have somebody to enforce our codes, which are on the books, but they are useless if you don't enforce them, then what are we doing? And it does then, the city falls behind, okay? You drive through, it looks messy, it looks dirty, it looks unkept. Houses aren't maintained, businesses aren't maintained. So what are we doing if we don't keep up the image of the city? And it's not fair. I've gone the route of trying to deal with my neighbors, okay? One neighbor in particular, I got threatened. And I was told by the police department, never approach him again because he will hurt you, okay? They used to go with 2 officers. It's not our job. If Mr. Hicks goes there and wants an officer, he can take one with him, okay? But it's how do we keep Utica being Utica? How do we keep it a great place to live? I've been here 32 years, I wanna be here, God willing, another 32 years. But I want the place to look good. And I think this is the way to do it. So you look at it, do we have the money, do we not have the money? We always seem to scrape it together, and I think this is one of those that would be so good for us, because then we have a person of authority that can issue a ticket, take someone to court, everything that the rest of us can't do to keep our properties and our city looking great.
So I agree wholeheartedly. I think this is an investment in our future property values. As soon as one person stops maintaining their property, it's very easy for that slippery slope to someone to now say that that's the standard in Utica. Well, I grew up here, and my dad made sure the lawn was very clean and cut and beautiful, and the guy next to us didn't want to be the house next to the nicest house, so they brought their house up. So it's contagious both ways. I'm very much in favor, as a resident who's lived here since 1976, to say that this has merit, and this is going to be one of those things that maintains our property values. There's nothing else, if the market doesn't appreciate your property, nothing else will maintain your property like good maintenance. Absolutely. Any other council member have any concerns?
Yeah, well, I think I agree wholeheartedly. It's very important that we go ahead and have strong code enforcement. Along with that, I think it's a possible a data gathering tool for us as well, too. I think we'll sometimes run into situations where it's not just it's not just a matter of intentional neglect or a moral hazard or morale hazard from a person, but it's actually a situation they're on a fixed income or they're really struggling along, and so that information then perhaps can come back to city council, and then
Church groups can get
Right,
involved,
sure,
and-
exactly,
or
exactly.
activity
Then
groups.
hopefully we can the bully pulpit can be used to aid folks along.
Any other council persons have any?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
how does this affect, like, long-term legacy costs, pensions, et cetera?
Well, it won't affect him with pension, because he doesn't draw a pension because he'll be a part-time employee. So that right there doesn't really play into a factor for
Okay.
him. He's simple right now, it's basically, we're just paying him more, he's a part-time employee, reaping no city benefits. We're just giving him additional responsibility and some additional pay to do those responsibilities. Unless I'm mistaken about something, Phil, that's,
That is correct.
okay,
Okay.
okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the increase in the hours for the zoning code enforcement budget, as stated here in the letter from to Mayor from Beth Ricketts, City Clerk, and Phil Paternoster, pardon me, it was carbon copied, and that we go through with it and make it effective immediately.
Support.
Moved by Sikora, supported by O'Donnell. Any discussion on the matter? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good, the motion carries, thank you. All right, thank you, everyone. Moving on to the next item, we have a request for no smoking at Riverside 175. Mr. Paternoster, was this brought by way of a resident?
No, it was not. Remember, it was something that I brought up as a result of the recent passage of the legalization of recreational marijuana and the concern that I know our residents have down there of not having to smell skunk within the building. But taking that step further and just for the safety of everyone in that building, eliminating smoking from the building as a policy, providing them with somewhere outside to smoke, because smoking inside the building is a hazard to all.
And
both
it
health,
depreciates the value of the interior greatly, too. with the
Absolutely, and
carpet,
it
the painting.
increased cost of rehabbing, so.
So, Chief Wilczek, sir, do you recall, by chance, were you privileged to the cause of the fire down on DeQuinder in Warren? Was that
Cigarette.
related? Cigarette as well?
Yep.
Okay. So if anyone's familiar, just this last week or so, there's a massive fire, 5-alarm.
3-alarm,
Three-alarm?
displaced 50 families, or 50 units are destroyed
Because of smoking.
because of smoke. Yeah, it was a cigarette.
I'm not a smoker, and I don't really, admonish those that do, but I certainly don't want to
Yeah.
be put at risk, or anyone else put at risk because someone has a habit that they tend to enjoy. So, there's that too. So I would make a motion that we adopt a policy for our Senior Living Center, Riverside 175, that we'd adopt a policy that there's no smoking in the interior of the building.
I'll support that.
Any discussion on that?
Our other city buildings currently are non-smoking facilities, correct?
That is correct.
That's correct.
Okay, so this again is a city-owned building, so it is keeping in policy of every other building that we have.
Yes.
Very good. Any further?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
is there, is this is tobacco smoking currently allowed within the building?
That's
It
my.
is currently allowed in apartments. It is not allowed within common
places.
areas.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Okay.
So are we to assume the premises then? Because then maybe, would there be, like, in some places, they have a line that delineates this is a smoking area? Or there would be a designated outdoor smoking area, perhaps?
I would suggest we designate some outdoor smoking areas would be my recommendation.
Okay.
Do we know if there are current residents that smoke?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Chief? Wilson?
Yeah, I just bring your attention to Shelby also had a 3-alarm fire due to a cigarette on an outside balcony of their senior housing, probably about
right.
2 years ago.
Middle building, yep.
Yep, so
All right.
it
Any
is a
further
problem.
Thank you, Chief. Any further discussion? So if council, then it's been moved, it's been supported, it's been discussed. If there's nothing further, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Very good, motion carries, thank you. Phil, we'll work on a designated smoking area that's safe and yet still convenient. All right? Okay, we are getting close to that time here. We have item C, the marijuana opt-out. That was, we left that with Ms. McGrail, I believe. Ms. McGrail, our city attorney.
Yeah, December's council meeting, council voted to opt out of the recreational establishment. As I indicated at last month's meeting, the voters approved the legalization of marijuana with state laws. Many municipalities are opting out of having those establishments within their boundaries. Not so much as what they're gonna do long-term, but while we're seeing how the state is going to license and handle everything, there's a lot of unknowns out there. So what we're seeing is that a lot of municipalities are choosing to opt out until those rules come down, which should happen about 1 year from now. Nothing in this ordinance would prevent the city from revisiting this once those rules are issued. The council did approve and directed me to draft an ordinance at December's meeting. I've done so, and that would have been, I believe, on everyone's table here today. Any questions for me on that?
I don't think I.
So this would require a motion to adopt the ordinance.
Yes, it would.
Okay. Well, I will make a motion to adopt the ordinance as presented by Ms. McGrail-Ballou.
Support.
Any discussion on the matter? Okay, Ms. Riggets, we'll have a roll call vote, please.
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi Cuddington?
Yes.
Sylvester?
Yes.
Calendino?
Yes.
O'Donnell?
No.
Deanne?
Yes. Okay, very good. Motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so just real quick, we're going to enter into the public hearing. When the public voted for marijuana recreational use, they didn't vote necessarily to have the stores in their city. So that's another issue that needs to be brought up separately altogether. So you can liken it to a liquor store if you like, or whatever the case would be. Would you want one on your corner next to your house? Still, a conversation whether it's a boutique store down the way or whether it's something that you have set aside is a discussion for another day. The city is simply this time saying, we're going to wait to see what happens until the laws come out and they're effective and they're reasonable and understandable. That way, when it comes time, if we do opt to have recreational marijuana sales facilities, we can do it under the current law as it's operating without going into it too early. So this is still something that could potentially happen. It could be a vote of the people eventually, or it could work itself out through the law. But at this point, the city's going to wait and see what happens with the state, what they're going to be doing, and also see where federal law's at with it as well. This isn't necessarily an absolute no to recreational marijuana retail facilities within the city. This is a no right now until we have much more information on the fact, or on the matter. So, okay, at this point, I'd like to have a motion to enter into the public hearing.
So moved.
Moved by Sikora, supported by Cuttington. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Very good, motion carries. Show us entering into the public hearing as of 8 PM. At this time, we are going to be speaking in reference to the Parks Recreational Master Plan update. And we would have Ms. Amanda from the Macomb County Planners.
Good morning, or good morning, good evening, Mayor and Council. So yes, back in November, you released the Parks and Recreation Plan for a public review period. I personally did not receive any feedback or comments from the public regarding the plan. We did get a few notes from members of council, and we made those additions and changes. We also had a member of our staff proofread the whole document. So unless Beth has received anything,
I have not.
we didn't get any feedback from the public, but we did close the online survey, and we had almost 200 responses, which was it's really great for a community of this size, considering that sometimes we only get like 10 for other communities. So that was good. We incorporated some of that feedback into the goals and objectives of the plan, and then obviously all the results will be included in the final appendix. So I did have copies here for everyone if they wanted to look at them. Honestly, not much change since the November, in November when I handed out the document. But yeah, so we're just opening it up for anybody who would like to comment on the plan. It's been online for probably 45 days, and it's been at City Hall as well. So if anyone has any comments, they can speak. If not, then we will later on, I believe, look for a motion to approve the plan, which would mean that we will then submit it on by February 1st to the DNR to review, and if it's approved by the DNR, then you'll be eligible to apply for a variety of grants over the next 5 years, so.
Okay, very good. Council, any questions for Ms. Minato?
Yeah, just one quick question. Do you happen to recall for the master plan, what the online survey, how many responses that drew? I know it's just off the top of your head.
I
if
would
you
say
knew.
probably not that many.
Yeah.
Your guys' Facebook page at that time wasn't as well followed.
Sure. So
And I think
then-
that made a big difference
Got it.
in terms of getting it out there. Also, I feel like you probably have gotten more traffic to the website
Mm-hmm.
with just your, more followings on social media and whatnot. So, we probably had like, I would guess 80 or so doubled that, which is good.
So, okay, Mr.
Amanda, I
Callen?
know I submitted a bunch of comments. Did those get incorporated?
Yes, all of
Oh,
those
okay.
have been incorporated. Yeah, I made all of those changes. We added the additional park, Jack McKee Noonan and Memorial Park, which I didn't realize had been split, so that's in the map now. And I believe, the one thing I think you did comment on was the events that were hosted by volunteers. I ended up just actually removing any specific event from there and just saying that volunteers are frequently involved in helping promote and run city-operated events and charity things. Since it's kind of gonna be a 5-year document, I didn't feel like we should list specific things since they could change from time to time. But yeah, other than that, everything was put in there, and as I said, there was commas added, periods taken away, all that stuff from our proofreader, so,
Thank you.
thank you.
And just to kind of touch on what Ms. Minato was saying, our social media presence wasn't very solid back when this first started. I think when we first started, we had 3 followers on Facebook, and that was when we took over. And so now we have 4,300 followers, and just one of our simple postings that we posted on there, a video, had 69,300 views on it. So the power of social media is there. I mean, the days going to TV with municipalities spend that kind of money isn't necessarily the way, because almost everyone today is picking up their phone and looking at their social media, whatever source it may be. We're gonna try to get an Instagram foothold as well, but Facebook seems to be the major one right now. So the power of social media is really doing its job these days.
And then, yeah, just to add to it, in the ending sections, there's goals and objectives and an action plan. And so there's 2 different grants through the DNR that are available to be applied for on a yearly basis with, I believe, an April 1st deadline. And it's the Recreation Passport Grant, which is funded by, when you renew your license plates, you can add on that additional $10 or $15. All of that money gets pooled in, and then local municipalities, counties, tribals, nonprofits can submit applications and do projects, I believe, up to $50,000 with 50% match. And then there's the trust fund grant, which I believe you can do up to a $250,000 project with, again, a 50% match. And that can be used for construction, planning, or property acquisition. And you just have to have an updated master plan on file with some sort of inclination that that project that you're applying for fits in with the plan. So that's why a lot of the goals and objectives are broader and more all-encompassing, so that if you want to do, if something comes about, you can make sure it fits with your objectives and goals for the city, so.
Very good. Okay. Council, anything further for the planners? Okay, this is a public hearing. Anyone from the audience that'd like to address council or the planners with any questions, reference the master plan for the recreational plan?
And I do have copies if anyone wants one here.
You got them with you?
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, any questions on anyone would like to address council or planners? Okay. So that'll conclude the master plan, the Parks and Rec master plan update. Ms. Beth, do I need to close that portion or just continue with the public hearing separately? Procedural?
We used to close them and then open a new one.
Okay, so, council,
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Support.
moved by Sikora, supported by Calandrino. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Very good, motion carries, thank you. So, require another,
I'll make a motion to open another.
thank you very much. Supported
Support.
by Mr. Calandrino again, so moved by Sikora, supported by Calandrino. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good, motion carries, thank you. Next, we have our fiscal year 2019 Community Development Block Grant Fund allocation. Ms. Ricketts, can you help us with that a little bit? Explain the process?
Sure. Okay, so we have an allocation of this year CDBG funds. The total is actually $12,398, which $300 is automatically set aside for chore, which is, I believe, helping people that need lawns cut and stuff, that we don't have a choice. So our bottom line is $12,098 that we can use for brick and mortar or public service. Public service cap, public service funds, we have $2,800 we can allocate, leaving us with $9,298 for fiscal year 2019. I guess since I'm talking, I'm gonna make our brick and mortar request first. I've discussed it with Bill Lang. We are requesting the $9,298 be allocated to replacing fire hydrants in the city. Ours are very old. Bill says parts are obsolete. That money, $9,000, only covers 1.5 hydrants. But 1.5 is better than none, because we're soon gonna be replacing all of them. And we really couldn't come up with any other good project. So we're requesting the $9,298 to be used for fire hydrant replacement.
Okay, very good. Okay, that leaves us with $2,800 for public services request, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And how many petitioners do we have here today for public service requests?
Present. They also had to have, service activities had to go, they had to apply with, the county. They can't just come here and ask. So if you haven't applied with the county, we cannot allocate to them. Do you want me to give you the list real quick?
Yes, ma'am.
Sure. Care House requested $1,200. Helping Hands Gifts requested $1,000. Interfaith Volunteer Caregivers requested $528. Macomb County Warming Center requested $3,000. Macomb County Rotating Emergency Shelter Team, McRest, requested $3,780. Turning Point requested $3,000. And Macomb Homeless Coalition requested $1,000. So that's what was requested of us through Macomb County. And the only additional request that could be made would be to spend some of those public service funds in our own entities, senior housing group.
Library.
That's kind of difficult, or the library. So
Okay.
Marcia was going to do her request too, besides
Okay.
whoever else wants to speak.
So, okay, then I guess we can go in order. Anyone that is here that's a petitioner that'd like to address council, you're certainly welcome to do so. Ms. Ricketts will call you in order, starting with Care House. What I'm going to ask, if possible, is that maybe you consider limiting your portion to a 3-minute term, if you didn't mind, only in efforts of brevity, because sometimes these meetings can go on until 11 o'clock at night, and everyone wants to get home to their kids. If you could, respectfully, keep it within 3 minutes, you're certainly welcome to go over, but I would ask that if you could make it within 3 minutes, that'd be a courtesy we'd like to ask. Okay? And you represent Care House?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So my name's Anisha. I work at Care House. I'm one of the counselors there. Care House is the Macomb County Child Advocacy Center. We have 2 locations, excuse me, one in Mount Clemens and one in Warren. Our services are focused on child victims of sexual abuse, physical abuse, or children who have witnessed a violent act. We work with law enforcement through Macomb County, so Utica Police Department is one of them. We work with Children's Protective Services, the Macomb County Prosecutor's Office, different medical and mental health professionals as well. Along with the forensic interview that we provide, where we coordinate with law enforcement, we also provide crisis counseling, support groups for teen victims, adolescent victims, and parent support groups as well. So families are never charged for services when they come to Care House to receive any of the services that we provide. Since opening in 1996, we have conducted over 7,000 child forensic interviews with 49 of those children residing in Utica. In 2008, we provided 753 forensic interviews, and 6 of those children resided in Utica. Last year, we received $448 in CDBG funding from your community, which helped support services to one family. So we depend on the support from the community to provide a voice for child victims and a safe place for them to be heard. We are very grateful for your support in the past. We respectfully request your consideration for funding in the amount of $1,200, which will support services for 2 child victims and their families that reside in Utica. Are there any questions that I can answer about what we do at Care House?
No, ma'am, thank you. I know it's a great service to abused children and women. I know you guys provide a fantastic service there. Thank you. Council, any questions for the petitioner? There we go. Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. Next, ma'am, Ms. Ricketts, who do we have next? Was it Helping Hands?
Is Helping Hands?
Helping Hands
You wanna-
here tonight? Okay. Helping Hands will show that they're not here this time.
Interfaith Volunteer Caregivers. Macomb County Warming Center.
So, sir, if you don't mind, at the podium, would you just give us your name and your address? Or I would say, your name and who you represent, please.
My name's Ron Borges. I'm the Vice President of the Macomb County Warming Center Board, and I'm representing the Macomb County Warming Center. We're requesting $3,000, although I understand that's not available at that funding. But we're looking for any assistance we can have. We provide emergency shelter for homeless adults, November through April, rotating through 19 different churches, 20 weeks through the winter months. We get them off the street. We assist the police when they pick them up and give them someplace to go that's safe and warm, and provide them with a meal, a safe place to sleep, and then a breakfast before they're given bus tickets to go on their business for the day. We also have a day shelter where we try and assist them with getting any documents they need in order to get themselves back on their feet again. We also assist in placing them in housing, and making sure they have like a resume, or if they need any special documents, driver's license, whatever. Any questions? I'm gonna keep mine quick.
Okay, so I think that about sums it up pretty well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ms. Ricketts, who do we have next?
Macomb County Rotating Emergency Shelter Team, McRest,
Okay.
Turning Point.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, my name is Debbie McKee. I am the Chief Program Officer at Turning Point. Excuse me. And again, thank you so much for us being able to request funds. Basically, Turning Point, of course, is, I shouldn't say of course, Turning Point is the only domestic violence program in Macomb County. We offer survivors of domestic and sexual violence, and of course their children, safety. We very often do have lethal cases, and so we offer a very secure shelter. And December 13, we moved into a wonderful state-of-the-art shelter, so we have all sorts of safety protocols. We have a completely handicap accessible shelter, which is a wonderful, wonderful thing. We have 13 bedrooms. 8 of them are private. Some of them are, for big families. And we're able to accommodate women that come in who are sick. We have suites on one floor. So it's a wonderful facility. While women are there, we have case management. They are given key cards when they come in. They're free to come and go as they please. We have, like I said, they have access to all daily living needs, all the food, all the personal items, et cetera, is all supplied for them. We also have an excellent children's program. We were just able to hire a children's therapist. So we have a comprehensive program where kids can talk about what it's like to grow up in domestic violence or be a survivor of sexual assault. So that's very, very helpful. And something else that we do that I wanted to mention is that we know that battering really interrupts parenting. And so we have a program that it's able, while in shelter, to have the child and the mother, or the children and the mother, be able to start reforming the bonds that a parent and child should have. Last year, Turning Point, we had 547 women and children in our shelter. It's quick. Any questions about that? I know that Utica has supported us over the years, and we're very grateful for it. So
That's far too many people in your shelter, but I'm glad you were there to take them in.
yeah, it is.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, and good night.
All right, well, thank you so much, miss. And then, Ms. Ricketts, who was last?
Macomb Homeless Coalition.
All right. All right.
And then
And then Ms.
Library.
Daggy from the library?
Hi, thank you, Mayor and Council. The library is asking, as we do every year, to consider us for $400 for large print and audio materials for primarily those with vision problems, the large print materials. We do have a budget, as I've stated in the past, that covers these in our regular budget, but what a grant from the CDGB allows us to do is to purchase things that are outside the bestsellers and the most popular material, and to focus a little bit on those readers who also would like classic, like Jane Eyre or Pride and Prejudice. So it allows us to branch out a little bit with something that we normally could not afford. Large print books and materials are vitally important. They're a very popular collection. It's not as large as our regular collection. Audio actually has the benefit not only of reciting the story to you, but it's not heavy like a book. I discovered with my own mother that large print books even became too heavy for her to hold. And so audiobooks were actually a wonderful alternative to that. So that's why we're asking actually for both. So a $400 total. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Daggy. It is a public hearing. Anyone from the audience like to address council or question any of the petitioners? All right, very good. Council discussion?
I mean, of the petitioners that were here, the one that was not here was Helping Hands Gifts. You said no to concern, they were awarded $4,540 last year and returned $3,265. So they did not give out the meals and that they said they were gonna do at Christmas time, so, based on that they did less than 25% of what they were going to do, I would probably take them off the this year list. Just two reasons, they're not here and they didn't do anything last year. And there's a lot of other people that are a very good group, so let's take that one off. My recommendation is take that one off the list. So,
Yeah, but it, you know, we have a, when we look at the various different organizations, they're clearly all doing various good works. Well, we have a dysfunctional society and a dysfunctional economy, and it creates dysfunction, and it needs to be handled. You know, having said that, though, we have limited funds. My preference would be to fund the library, to always fund the library when we have this opportunity. It's definitely a resource for the city and for its residents. And then the remaining of the funds be just divided amongst the three organizations that appear today.
I'd support that.
And Mr. Hicks, sir?
I have a question on these funds. Are we able to use any of those, like we're getting into winter, thank God we haven't had a whole lot of snow yet, but if I have people out there that are underprivileged, that have homes and stuff like that, and may need assistance shoveling the snow and stuff, is that something we can look at, using some of these funds to get somebody to shovel the snows or cut grasses or that kind of thing, or no?
But there was a company, there was.
That's the chore, but that's, well, that's for low income or seniors eligibility.
Okay, so these funds cannot be used for that?
We've already allocated the
There's a different-
$300 to it. It seems like the county picks up that responsibility.
Yeah, no, there's a different program, but we didn't, you guys didn't want to participate in it last year, but I don't think that took care of snow shoveling. The chore does for cutting grass and snow removal.
And so, like, repair, like, let's say we run
But it-
across an older person living in a home, they can't afford maybe a new roof or something like that.
That's a different program.
Okay, that's what I was at.
That's a program that I said last year, you can allocate a certain amount of your funds to go to that.
The
I'm
program.
assuming they're not on the list this year? Or is that,
We can I mean, we haven't voted on it, we can do that. You would take money away from the fire hydrants. You could allocate either $500 or $1,000 to, home repairs. It would be, that money would only be used for home repairs for Utica residents that are either, I think they have to be low income.
Well, maybe we
It
can.
has to be low
Maybe
income.
we can not do it this year, and maybe next year look into it over the year to see what we find or what I find.
Yeah, well, then that might be part of your code enforcement. You're gonna be one of the people, outside our police officers and our firefighters, you're gonna be the next one coming in contact with these people.
Right.
So you'd be more apt to wanna make it in your report, hey, this person could use a little bit of help, and that could be part of the reporting process.
Okay.
Yeah. So, all right, council, it seems like there was a common thread there where we had $400 for the library, and the balance being $2,400, which would be $800 apiece for the three remaining that showed up today. Mr. Sicardi, input?
the only other one that I would say that is not here that has been part of, I know they rotate with Trinity, and that was McCrest.
Okay.
We funded them in the past, haven't we?
If they didn't apply through Macomb County.
No, they're on the list, but they're
If
not
they're
here
on the
tonight.
list, oh,
Yes,
okay.
McCrest is not here. And they've alternated between St. Lawrence, I believe, and Trinity, as far as taking in people and that. So that's always been there. I know they're not here. I would like just to add, personally, if you, for consideration, is we add them to the three that are here, give what we can to the library, divide up the balance then between the four.
It'd be $600 apiece for the four remaining. So $400 to the library, $600 apiece to Care House, the Warming Center, Turning Point, and McCrest.
Well, at that point, do we want to take care of our library a little bit more and divide the 28 by 5, or give 600 to the library and the balance? 2,200 divided by 4, which would be $550 apiece.
Ms. Daggy, do you need some more dollars over there?
library can always.
I mean,
You need to come in big next time.
and some of us are getting older, those big print books really come in handy. So
Let's do the math here real quick then.
if you do $600 to the library, that leaves 2,200 divided by 4 is $550 apiece.
That's what I was gonna say, Ken.
So,
50 to the rest?
It's neater that way, it's just neater.
All right. Councilman,
I'm with the warming center, but I also work over at Trinity, and I know they had McRest this year.
yeah, okay, so thank you.
You're welcome.
yes, sir. So I knew you looked familiar. I'm sure I've seen you over there.
Yes, I work on the soup line.
Yep. So, all right, council, any further discussion? Does it seem like any questions from any of the petitioners or any comments or statements or questions from anyone in the audience? All right. Well, we can't vote on it at this point. What we'll do is we'll close the session and we'll make a vote later on. Correct, Ms. Ricketts? That sounds great. All right. So at this point, we'll have a motion to
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
support. Moved by Sikora, supported by Dion. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Very good. Motion carries. The public hearing is now closed. We will now resume our agenda, which was left off at consent business. There was no consent business to be noted. We did receive correspondence earlier this evening from the residents of Riverside 175, which is our senior housing development. They collected signatures from the residents in support of not selling the building. And it would require a motion to receive and file that correspondence.
So moved.
Moved by Sikora, supported by Cuddington. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good, motion carries, thank you. Next up, we have Mr. Mark Nicholson, always escapes me. For some reason, Mark Nicholson with the Fork and Cork Festival, and we're rebranding the name this year, correct, sir?
That's correct. Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. My name is Mark Nicholson. I'm with the Gazette Media Group. We're the organization that produced the Fork and Cork Festival last year, and we're back again this year to request approval with a few enhancements to the event this year. The Fork and Cork Festival, in hopes of getting maybe some healthcare sponsors. We're looking at possibly just dropping the cork portion from the title of the event to focus on the food as well as music and fun overall for the event. We still plan on with the proper approvals, selling beer and wine at the event in support of the Humane Society Macomb. But we are looking to, or we're requesting approval to do the event on Friday, September 20th, Saturday, the 21st, and Sunday, the 22nd. Just to, the 3-day, expanding to 3 days would allow us to incur if there were bad weather that happened. Friday of this past year was very, very windy, and Saturday was a much better day. But Sunday was beautiful. Unfortunately, we weren't around on Sunday to enjoy that weather. Beyond that, we're also asking most importantly, to move the venue or to move the event across the street. And in the information that we'd submitted, we're asking or requesting the use of the space highlighted in the document here, where I believe Appetite for Arts was done on the same blueprint this past year. Unfortunately, there was bad weather, but we know that this would allow us to not only bring in more vendors, it would keep it all together. I think there was some discussion last year in terms of some of the feedback that we got from attendees. The beer and wine tent was pretty much disassociated from the rest of the vendors and food exhibitors. So we're trying to bring everybody together, yet expand it, and then also allow for those who purchase beer and wine to enjoy the entire festival, which we would then enclose with proper fencing, which is indicated in the blue lines, so that we can get approval from the state and the MLCC as well. So.
And in addition to that, I spoke with Mr. Appleby, we referenced the parking that we did last year. We'd be under the same agreement this year. They would block off that section so that we would have access for paid parking across the street, which netted our Parks and Rec Department somewhere $2,500 to $3,000 roughly. that worked out pretty decently.
And baseball's over then, right?
Baseball's
It
over.
is, yeah. And this doesn't entail closing Auburn Road at all? No road closures?
Question of getting the word cork out. Why are you taking it? I'm just saying it's like Zubu, which I go to all the time.
Right.
Okay, Fork and Cork. It's a really, and I love my craft beer, as you can tell. It's just a way for outsiders.
To better identify?
I think so. I mean, you go fork, one, you gotta associate it with just food. It's just, there's gonna be, again, a food truck rally, okay? Versus bringing in, and again, your beer tent, I was only able to enjoy it one day because I had to go out of town. It was a great event and it was packed.
Thank you.
So,
The, and we talked, we've spent quite a few months talking about and looking at different names and different options. And our thought is, it's really just the healthcare organizations that we want to approach that last year passed because of the Cork reference in the title. If they pass again this year, we'd said that we'll just, continue to call it Fork and Cork
Okay.
and not worry about the sponsorships. We know Crest was very, very pleased with their participation last year, as were a number of the vendors. So, we're looking forward to growing it. We just wanted to be able to, encourage more companies to participate essentially.
whoever did not go, it is a great event. So,
Yeah.
it was.
And it's a first-year event.
Yeah, first year event.
Success.
Is the concept gonna be the same with the beer tasting where you
Yeah.
give the tickets and?
Well, a little different. What we're going to do is we'll have a variety of 10 by 10 tents set up for the wineries and the breweries to staff themselves.
Okay.
And then provide sell on an individual basis. So it'd be, a couple dollars a sample, that type of thing.
Right. Because that's really what made it a unique event, I thought.
And
Absolutely.
it'll be open-air event, too. The idea of the beer tent was, truth be told, very costly. And it was those things that didn't necessarily turn out to be a benefit as much as it was just, a what if it
Yeah.
rained.
Yeah, exactly. And so our focus, we want to continue to enhance, bring more musical live acts to the event too. Our intention is to do 3 stages this year as opposed to just 2, which we did last year. So really focus on the music, on the food, craft beer, wine, a very nice event for the community.
The only thing I'd like to add is, last year, I know it was your first year, you and I spoke, the proper permits.
Yep.
And then like with all the tents, the proper inspections, so on and so forth, make sure that gets all, it was all done. and-
Day of, yeah.
Yeah, day of.
Absolutely. And we will be much further ahead of that this year, without question.
Okay, Council, any questions? Any concerns? All right, then it would require a motion to approve the Fork and Cork Festival as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the Fork
Working
Festival.
working title.
Working title.
As presented, again, meeting all the inspection,
Licensing
permits, everything
permits.
between building inspector, fire, all that, so.
Support. Moved by Sikora, supported by Cuttington. Council, any discussion on the matter? Very good. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Very good, motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Nicholson.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council.
Have a good evening. And next, our friends from the Flying Falcons over at Flickinger Elementary requesting their second annual 5K run. I understand last year's was a smash success.
It absolutely was. I think it was because of the starter.
Of course. So- I got to say some words or something, I don't know. Usually too many.
Don't feed us either.
So, would you-
It was a smashing success. Over $6,300 we raised for the school.
Would
So,
you ladies introduce yourselves and the organization that you represent?
absolutely. Desiree Wolkin.
Anid Basan.
We're from the Flickinger Parent Group at Flickinger Elementary. And we're here to request permission to hold our second annual Flickinger 5K on Saturday, May the 4th.
Okay.
It would start at 9 o'clock with a 1-mile fun run for the kids, hopefully, from the school, and then 9:30, a 5K. It would be in the subdivision, same as last year, the same course as last year. It starts at the back of the school. It runs around the same as Hanson's does for the Bill Roney at the end of March. We're again working with Hanson's. Last year, we had over 220 runners, and we put cones out with Hanson's and had volunteers working on the intersections. And I think everything went successfully. We didn't have any complaints from any neighbors that we know of, so hopefully no one else heard any different.
Are there any changes to the plan from last year to this year?
Nope, pretty much the same.
Okay.
Hopefully maybe an extra 100 runners if anyone wants to register and come out.
Maybe there's a walking portion.
Yep, yep.
Council, any questions for the ladies? Okay, then it would require a motion to approve the second annual Flickinger 5K run on May 4th, 2019.
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Sikora, supported by Mr. O'Donnell. Any discussion on the matter? Very good. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good. The motion carries. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you so
Good luck with the
much.
run. All right. So next up, we have the flea market, the junk in the trunk sale request, taking place June 15th, 2019. Miss Lynn, if you can give us your name, and Miss Lisa, Miss Lynn, can you give us your names?
Absolutely. I'm Lynn Carnes, president of Women's Life Chapter 911.
And I'm Lisa Damon, member of Women's Life, Chapter 911 as well.
Okay, tell us a little bit about your event.
What we are seeking approval for is a flea market slash junk in the trunk event, our first one here. I have been a Utica resident since 2003, and we feel that we want to bring some more fun into Utica. And we have got, Jimmy John's is going to allow us to use their parking lot in the back area. And then we are going to have vehicles that would either like to sell out of their trunk. And I don't know, I've never done this before, so I don't know, you wanna?
I'd say there's several other cities that hold similar type events. We're looking to make it a charity event for the fundraiser. So the money collected per parking space will go to Women's 911. And as part of our charity event, we always try to incorporate a second charity. So Universal Ambulance is giving us a ambulance to fill for Trinity Lutheran Church. So we'll be collecting canned goods as an entry fee.
Oh, very good. So, and just to clarify, the parking where they're referencing would be for parking of the vehicles.
For Lot A.
For Lot A, over here, that's where you would park the attendees.
Correct.
And the participants who are actually selling out of the trunk will be right here behind City Hall, correct?
I thought it was opposite.
Opposite.
The whole thing's over there?
Opposite, yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, I thought we had a
Yeah, no, opposite.
correction, everyone.
Sorry.
So the whole event will take place over there.
Correct.
And public parking will be used for just
Wherever-
regular patrons.
yeah, regular
And so the whole thing will take place over on the gravel lot.
Correct.
Yep.
And there is baseball that day.
There
is,
There
yes.
is, and we have to be out of the parking lot by 4 PM.
Okay.
So our
And I
event will
spoke with
end at
Dana, and that's one
by
of the things
3.
that was understood.
And I think it'd be a great draw to the restaurants and businesses downtown as well.
What type of items do people sell? How do you get a vehicle in there to sell items?
So at 6 o'clock, we would start parking vehicles. And it basically, you could fill your car, your Jeep up with whatever garage sale items you want to sell. Park your vehicle, and you would set up a table outside of your vehicle and display your items for sale.
What is the fee for a spot that,
A single parking spot would be $30. A double spot would be $50.
thank you.
Council, any questions?
Lynn, I think you coordinated right? You know where
I was
you know
just
what I'm gonna
gonna
ask,
say,
right?
some of the events that we have just recently been involved with this past year. One was the family of the grandfather that was killed at Grant Park. We put together a fundraiser at Ashby's Ice Cream. We raised $911 for his family. We purchased 10 cap and gowns for Stevenson High School, kids that could not afford them. And then just recently, Christmas Day, the fire that was at the Sterling Heights apartment complex, we put together a collection, raised over about $8,000 worth of goods
At the gallery doors.
at the gallery doors.
Delivered over 12 truckloads to the
That's
apartments.
So
Amazing.
we just
Of
really want to
donations.
give back into this community. I'm actually a recipient of another Women's Life chapter that helped me out 3 years ago when I was in intensive care, so I just want to give back.
Yeah, I tell you, and Lynn volunteered her time here with our Kids Fest over the summer, we hadn't really met, and how can I get involved? So a longtime Utica resident, a real doer in the community, gives. You know, I can't say enough good things about her.
I also volunteered at the Fork and Cork.
There was a lot of people there. I'm sure I saw you there. So, council, it would require a motion to approve the flea market junk and trunk on June 15th, 2019.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Support.
Moved by Sikora, supported by Mr. Calandrino. Any discussion on the matter, council? Okay, in that case, we'll have we won't. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good, thank you, the motion carries. Thank you, ladies.
you.
Congratulations, much success. Okay, onto the department, new business, under the mayor's portion here. Council, I am very honored to work next to Mr. Ken Sikora for these past 2 years as your mayor. He has proved to be a dedicated city servant over the past 29 years, going into his 30th year now. I would ask that you approve the appointment to Mr. Sikora for his following term here as our City of Utica Mayor Pro Tem.
I make a motion that we approve Ken Sikora for Mayor Pro Tem.
Support.
Very good. Moved by Calandrino, supported by Mr. O'Donnell.
He's new. The two rookies, first meeting.
That happens. That happens on occasion.
Bradford.
Yeah, Bradley, Bradford. In this case, Ms. Ricketts, we'll have a roll call vote, please.
Sikora,
Yes.
Terenzi, Cuddington,
Yes.
Sylvester,
Yes.
Calandrino,
Yes.
O'Donnell,
Yes.
Dion.
So, and for those of you that don't know the role of the Mayor Pro Tem, he's kind of like a vice mayor. So if I were to be out of the country or not available, or God forbid, pass away or something like that, the responsibility of mayor would fall into Mr. Sikora's hands. But moreover, his role is even greater. He is a mentor for sure. I call him weekly, sometimes a couple times a day, and we share ideas. He uses his knowledge and experience and his calming voice to kind of put things in perspective on occasion. But Mr. Sikora is a value to this council and a very much a value to the city of Utica. So I'm honored to have him as our Mayor Pro Tem. So thank you so much.
If I can say, yeah, it has been an honor. I was twice Mayor Pro Tem under Mary Noonan, and I'm very honored to be your current Mayor Pro Tem with Mayor Dion here. So it's a lot of fun. Thank you.
Very good, thank you, sir. So, okay, on to the next piece of business. It will be the library board appointment. We have our very own deputy clerk and city resident, Nancy Carter. Council, I'm asking today that you would confirm the appointment of Nancy Carter to the library board. She's a dedicated city employee and dedicated resident, spending much of her own time volunteering at city events and is very involved in the library. And I spoke with the library director, and she's very much a welcome member and influence in the library itself. So, council, today I'd ask that you would please approve the appointment of Nancy Carter to our Utica Public Library.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I move to approve the appointment of Nancy Carter to the library board.
Very good. It's
Support.
moved by Mr. O'Donnell, supported by Mr. Sylvester. Council, any discussion on the matter? In that case, we'll have a roll call vote. Ms. Ricketts.
Sikora,
Yes.
Terenzi, Cuddington,
Yes.
Sylvester,
Yes.
Calandrino,
Yes.
O'Donnell,
Yes.
Dion.
Yes. Very good. Thank you. So, forevermore, Nancy Carter shall be appointed to the library board. On to the next item, we have our planning commission appointments. The city's been seeking interested members and getting involved in the city, one of those boards and commissions being the planning commission. Tonight, I present to you Stacy Smale, who's a resident here in the city of Utica next to her husband, Craig. They live right in the neighborhood here, and they are dedicated members to the community. Appointing Stacy herself as an educator at Utica High School and very much involved in our city events. So I would like to have her for consideration. But further than that, Brian Cook, also a longtime resident. He is the COO of a major restaurant corporation, and he has much insight into the corporate world and also realistic planning ideas about the future of the city of Utica. I would humbly ask that both of these contributors to our fine city be appointed by council to the planning commission, Ms. Stacy Smale and Mr. Brian Cook.
I'll make a motion to approve both of them and appoint them to the planning commission.
Support. Moved by Sikora, supported by Calendino. Council, in discussion on the matter? If not, Ms. Ricketts will have a roll call vote, please.
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi, Cuddington?
Yes.
Sylvester?
Yes.
Calendino?
Yes.
O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne?
Yes. Next would be Parks and Rec Commission. We have also, anyone that wants to be involved, this is another fine commission that requires dedication to the city, but not only that, it requires that you spend time and help mold the way our Parks and Recs Commission looks, and that would be development of our parks, coordinating in our events that we host downtown, because people don't realize that it's the Parks and Rec that put these things together often, and we are lacking volunteers, and we're fortunate enough in having one dedicated resident, Lori Cook, who's here with us today. She's very involved with the Flickinger Parent Group. She's also involved here in the city, shows up at a lot of our city events, and I couldn't think of a finer person for an appointment to the Parks and Rec Commission. So tonight, council, I do ask humbly, respectfully, that you appoint her to the Parks and Rec Commission.
I'll make a motion to appoint Lori Cook to the Parks and Rec Commission.
Support. Moved by Sikora, supported by Cuddington. Any discussion on the matter, council? If not, we'll have the roll call vote. Ms. Ricketts?
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi, Cuddington?
Yes.
Sylvester?
Yes.
Calendino?
Yes.
O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne?
Yes. Very good. Motion carries. Thank you so much, Mr. and Mrs. Cook and Ms. Smale, for your dedication to the city. So under mayor's reports, one last thing I do have is, in working with our engineers and our DPW, our Pioneer Park, which includes that 11 and a half acres right now initially, and the 1 acre dog park, is slotted to be finished by July 3rd. So that could be moved one way or the other, but Mr. Lang likes to tell you he will under-promise and over-deliver. I'm hoping that by July 3rd it will be done. It's the plans are really magnificent for it. It's going to be a beautiful park. So hopefully by July 3rd we should be able to enjoy that park. So that'll be it from the mayor's office. Coming up next, we have council reports. Anyone on council would like to give a report? Mr. Sikora.
Not a report, but I would love to welcome Mr. Brad O'Donnell and Mr. Gus Calendino to city council. It's exciting to have new people up here, new ideas and new challenges. So thank you for running, thank you for being here.
Thank you. And like I told Gus and Ken, or Gus and Brad both, we don't always agree, but we'll always get along. Okay? So that may be the case. We come from 7 different pieces of the city here. We represent 5,000 people by our 7 votes. And again, we might not always have the same idea, and that's great for the residents that we don't always just have one flowing path. So it's fine to disagree, but we will always find a way to get along. Okay. So next up, planning. Anything from the planners tonight? Miss Amanda?
No, we have nothing to report tonight.
Does anyone have
Thank
any
you.
questions for the planning commission? Mr. Tom Galaska, sir? Okay. And Miss Amanda, if there's nothing further, we can dismiss you for the remainder of the evening. Get you home early tonight. She does have something? Nah, as you were. So, okay, and master plan, where was, okay, that's item number 13. Council, I'm going to ask that we make an amendment to the agenda tonight. Item number 13, if we can move that up forward to the planning commission portion at this point. So I can have a motion to move the Parks and Rec Commission master plan adoption.
So moved.
Moved by Sikora. Support. Supported by Calendino. Any discussion on the matter? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good, motion carries. Miss Amanda, we're going to go ahead and work on the master plan adaptation. Or adoption.
Yeah, basically what I said earlier, if you guys are pleased with the plan and would like to move forward, then you'll just need to make a resolution to adopt the City of Utica Parks and Recreation and Open Space Master Plan 2019 to 2023. And then I will move forward and get all the finalized documents and submit it to the Michigan DNR website by February 1st.
I'll make a motion to do exactly what Amanda just said.
I'll support that. So it's been moved by Sikora, it's been supported by myself. Ms. Ricketts, will have a roll call vote, please.
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi, Cuddington?
Yes.
Sylvester?
Yes.
Calendino?
Yes.
O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne?
Yes, very good, motion carries. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Amanda, do we have anything else at this point?
Nope, I have nothing else at
All
this
right,
time.
then we're going to dismiss you if that's okay,
Sounds
and we'll
good.
get you on home.
Thank you.
So one quick thing, council reports, if we digress just for a second. Krispy Kreme donut, the grand opening will be January 29th. So yes, much to celebrate. So, and after you,
He wants 2 dozen
they've had a
donuts.
couple of donuts over here. So yeah, so tentatively, they're scheduled to open January 29th will be their grand opening. They've asked for the high school to provide the marching band and the cheerleaders and whatnot, but I talked to Mr.
Right.
Leitz, unfortunately, they can't do that. Our Utica schools, kids need their education, so they can't be out of school for 3 hours. You think you can work something? You guys go talk to Mr. Leitz, see what you can do. But at this point,
Play a tape.
yeah, at this point, you guys gotta stay in school. Okay. So we'll go back forward. Mr. Grusa had nothing at this point from the assessing office. Mr. Hicks, anything, sir?
Not at this time.
All right, Mr. Hicks, thank you so much. Ms. Daigie, anything to add?
First, I'd like to thank y'all for approving Mrs. Carter's appointment. I appreciate that very much. I'm sure she'll be outstanding on the library board. And I do want to mention that the position on the board became available because Mary Figursky, who has been on our board for over 10 years, her term was up for renewal as of December the 31st. She asked that I not submit her name for personal and health reasons, that she decided that she would rather not serve. Well, she really wanted to serve another term, but she just felt that it would be better at this time. And I do want to point out that Mary was an outstanding advocate for the library. We appreciated her service and still do so very, very much. Mary was the type of person that I counted on her to catch all of my errors. I mean, and she was very good at doing that. And so she was great for us. She will be sorely missed. But I thank you. I know Mrs. Carter will be outstanding as well. And then I briefly want to mention for everybody, for our residents, that when we get to February, events will start to come back. So we actually have our pause for reading the therapy dogs that start this month in January on the 23rd. That's the last Wednesday of the month, from 6:30 to 7:30. When we get into February, we'll have baby time and preschool story times that will be returning, as well as family movie nights, and we hope to encourage more families to come to the library. We'll have first-run movies, so these are great movies that have just been released on DVD. It's free. We actually have some popcorn going on down there and other things in the giving room, so we would like to encourage families, especially in the winter when, hey, what else can you do except read, of course, and watch the movies. And poetry slams will come back in February. Right now, we're looking at the last Monday of the month, around February the 25th, I think, as soon as I clear that with Mrs. Calandrino, who is the boss on that, actually. And so just wanted to let y'all know that all of that is coming up. Please watch our website, our Facebook page, and give us a call if you would like information on any of it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Daigie.
Yeah.
The room downstairs, do you guys rent that out at all?
We don't. We have groups. Groups can use it, nonprofit groups can use it. Organizations and clubs can book it. Condo associations, for instance, can have their annual meetings there, especially if they're Utica, and in fact, we just booked one for a Utica association, but we do not rent it. Yeah.
Is there a reason why we don't?
There is. Most libraries actually prefer to leave their meeting rooms for those people that cannot afford to pay. They don't want it taken over like by a lot of businesses or places that could actually afford to pay a larger institution a larger salary. And also, there is the issue in terms of like private parties and things like that. We don't have a full-time maintenance or staff person to take care of those things or to get the room set up or cleaned up. In fact, when groups use that room, we ask them to set up and to clean up after themselves. We don't have anybody scheduled for that. But most libraries like to leave their meeting rooms so that groups, places that have difficulty scraping together $100, or something like that. It is free for Utica groups or organizations. We don't charge Utica groups and organizations anything, or Utica nonprofits anything. We make a small charge to groups and organizations that are outside of Utica, like $25, which is not by any means an exorbitant fee. So.
Thank you, Ms. Dahey.
You're welcome.
Okay, next item, Fire Chief Kevin Wilczek, sir.
Yeah, before you, I believe you have a request for a leave of absence for a year from Adam Simon, firefighter, got hired unfortunately by Warren. So we lost another one. And I would just like to have that approved if you guys would. And been a busy 2 weeks in the fire department. We started on Christmas Day, thanks to the guys that gave up their Christmas Day. That started at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I don't think we got back till 5:30 that night. And then we had to assist Shelby Fire 3 days later on a fatal fire. People don't go back in for your animals. Animals will get out of the house. They unfortunately had to pull the body out of a fire. He survived for like 3 or 4 days and succumbed to the burns that he received trying to retrieve his dog. They lost 4 guys right off the scene of that, so we got summoned to come help them put that fire out. And then Sunday morning, we had the worst nightmare that I could have as fire chief at Utica. They had our nursing home, Regency. We had smoke and flame showing at 4 a.m. in the morning, and our guys did a wonderful job, thanks to all of them. Called the second alarm. We had 33 residents that we had to move out of the house and into the street, and it was, thank God it was a January that was warm, because if this would have been last year's 14 below zero, we would really had an issue. So with our mutual aid, I called the second alarm. We had 5 other companies in here. Rochester Hills filled our station. We had Sterling, Macomb, Washington, and Shelby. It was a successful. We got the fire out right away, and fortunately we could move them back into the cafeteria of the facility. And we were the first ones to enact the ambulance strike team that we just came up with, and that gives us 5 ambulances from all private ambulances in surrounding communities right away, other than our second alarm committee. So it went really well. You know, it's just been, you know, our guys gave up their Christmas. It's been a bad 2 weeks for the fire department.
And then a fire yesterday.
Yeah, we had another fire last night then too. And we put that one out right away, thank God. So it's been busy, you know.
All right, well, that's
So-
enough, Chief. You calm it down now.
I could use some rest. You know, the big thing is the guys giving up their Christmas Day. You know, they were there for the whole day. It was not that nice of a day. It was warm and sunny, supposedly, you know, if you weren't wet. So it takes its toll on everybody. So, and unfortunately, a Sterling Heights firefighter got hurt pretty bad down there. So, and they did have a May Day where 2 guys had to be evacuated. There were 2 firefighters. The people didn't get out of the building right away. Anybody that's our apartment dwellers, if you hear anybody yell fire, please leave the building. They had to evacuate 16 people through windows, out ladders. 2 of the firefighters almost got trapped. The fire came down the hallway, and they had a Mayday, and these guys actually bailed out of the building. So, thanks.
All right, Chief. So, Council, it would require a motion to approve the leave of absence for firefighter Simon.
So moved. Support.
Moved by Sikora, supported by Cuttington. Council, any discussion on the matter?
Mr. Mayor, does this mean that this slot will have to remain empty until?
No, we're
probation?
constantly hiring. The fire service today has experienced a very big problem. There's not enough people to go around.
Gotcha.
This gives us the ability to hire him right back and not have to do anything. He just comes right back.
Okay.
Because he'll be leaving another department with the physicals and everything, so we just can put him
Just
back
means
in the
he's still in
service.
good standing should we want to reemploy him.
Okay.
Yep.
And he was a paramedic, so it's a good loss, it's a big loss for us, so.
All right, Council. If there's no further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good, motion carries. Okay, Mr. Saman will have a 1-year leave of absence. I'm sorry, is that 1-year leave, Chief, or is it just, okay,
From the day you applied for it, I think it was January 1st you started.
very good. Okay, Chief, anything further, sir?
No, that'll be it. Just thanks for your support, so.
All right, Chief, thank you so much.
Oh, there is one more thing. We would like to, the assistant chief and I would like to invite the whole council especially the new members, to come on over on a date that we can agree on and get an orientation to our fire department, how we operate, what we do, why we do it. So you have an understanding.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Absolutely.
Very good. All right, then, thank you so much, Chief. And then Police Chief Cody was not available tonight. He had family matters he had to attend to. But additionally, he had nothing on the agenda that was pertinent. Same for Superintendent Bill Lang. He's had a sick family member, and as well, he had nothing on the agenda. Mr. Paternoster, sir, referenced the fiscal year 18 audit.
Mayor and council, we had the work session preceding the council meeting in which Mr. Panter of Yo and Yo presented a brief synopsis of the annual financial audit for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2018. I would respectfully submit the financial statements to the council to receive and file them.
I'll make a motion to receive and file the fiscal year 18 audit as presented by the firm Yo and Yo.
Support.
Moved by Dion, supported by Sikora. Any discussion on the matter? Council, or Ms. Ricketts, we'll have a roll call vote, please.
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi? Cottington?
Yes.
Sylvester?
Yes.
Calendino?
Yes.
O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne?
Yes, very good, thank you, motion carries. Mr. Paternoster, next item, item B.
Item B, we have a request from the Municipal Building Authority to amend the budget for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2019, increasing line item 469-261-933-000, building improvements, by the sum of $16,500. This amendment is predicated by the failure of one of the two rooftop units, HVAC units at the fire department. When the technician was inspecting the one, determined that the second one was on its last legs, so Municipal Building Authority authorized the replacement of both of them. But that does require approval of the city council as well.
As well, we had sent that out to bid. We had 3 bids, Chief?
Yeah, we had 3 bids. Mike's Heating and Cooling was the lowest, and it was suggested by the building authority. They inspected the other furnace, and it also had the same physical rusting. You know, the furnaces, I think, were from the 1990s, early 90s.
And I believe
And,
council voted on this last time and approved it, obviously, so now we're just going to do the budget amendment.
Yeah,
Just to-
it was the savings is the cranes. You know, it takes cranes to get them things up on the rooftop and everything, so they just decided to do both of them at the same time.
But it's fortunate Mike's Heating and Cooling gave us the right price and also their Utica company, and that's nice to see. So, all right, so council would require a motion to approve the budget amendment as presented.
So moved.
Moved by Sikora,
Support.
supported by Mr. O'Donnell. Any discussion on the matter? Ms. Ricketts, will have the roll call vote, please.
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi? Cottington?
Yes.
Sylvester?
Yes.
Calendino?
Yes.
O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne?
Yes, very good, thank you, the motion carries. Mr. Paternoster, item C.
We have a request on behalf of the Police Department to amend the fiscal year 2019 Police Department budget. At the regular meeting on May 15, 2018, the City Council amended the fiscal year 18 budget to upgrade the civil defense siren at Utica Park Boulevard and replace the civil defense siren at Union Court. The upgrade and the replacement were not performed before the close of fiscal year 2018. Since appropriations expire on June 30th, it is necessary to amend the fiscal year 2019 budget and appropriate the funds for the replacement and the upgrade that were performed back in September of 2018, fiscal year 19. We're asking for a transfer from assigned fund balance police equipment line item 301-695-000, the amount of $21,200. To cover the expenditures, equipment repair, line item 101-301-931-000, $7,280. And the equipment purchase, 101-301-981-000, $21,200. So the transfer in from the assigned fund balance, police equipment, that is a savings account held by the police department. It accumulates funds from various fees and is used for equipment purchases. The equipment repair is an increase, or the effect will be to increase the unassigned fund balance of the general fund by $7,280.
Very good, thank you, Mr. Paternoster. It would require a motion to approve the budget amendment as presented.
Make a motion to approve the budget amendment as presented in the letter dated January 8, 2019 from our treasurer, Phil Paternoster.
Support.
Moved by Sikora. We'll go with seniority. Supported by Mr. Cuddington. I'm sorry, Council, is there any discussion on the matter? Ms. Ricketts, we'll take the roll call vote, please.
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi, Cuddington?
Yes.
Sylvester?
Yes.
Calandrino?
Yes.
O'Donnell?
Yes.
Dion?
Yes. Very good, thank you. Motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Next, Mr. Paternoster, also thank you very much. Ms. Ricketts, ma'am, you have some items on, from the clerk's office.
Yes, I am requesting to enter into a new 39-month network support contract with SYO Computer Services. They are the best in Michigan. They are going up a little bit per month. I forgot what that was, how much? Sorry. We're currently at $4.95, and I think it's going up to $5.25 maybe?
Sorry, I didn't look at that part of you.
Oh, Hector. This contract has been reviewed by the city attorney. There was a few items that she wanted taken out. SYO did agree to remove those. I guess I can run back to my desk and get the actual monthly figure. I thought it was in the packet, but I guess I'm not finding
Is it not in the contract?
my memo.
That's what I'm looking now.
I know that, just to give folks some insight, they're a Utica company, and they do a great job. They have a fantastic reputation as well. That's all I had until you can go to your desk. I thought I was gonna fill it with that.
We can table it for a minute if you.
It's $520 a month.
There you go. That's,
I
yeah.
think it's, according to my notes, it's about 520. So, okay. So, Council, Ms. Ricketts is asking for a contract renewal with SYO Computer Company. Again, the additional fee, or the fee has now been altered to $520 a month. It would require a motion to go ahead and enter into contract renewal with them.
I'll make a motion to enter into that contract renewal with them as long as the stipulations in a letter from our city attorney are incorporated into it.
Has that been the case, Ms. McGrail-Ballou?
I understand that Ms. Ricketts has talked to SYO and that they have agreed to it.
Okay. So subject to the review of that contract, if everything meets the criteria as pointed out by Ms. McGrail's review, we can authorize the mayor to go ahead and do that perhaps. Is that reasonable?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then the motion would be, could you?
Include what you just said.
Okay, very good. So then I will second that motion. So, all right.
I'm sorry.
Council, any discussion on the matter?
No.
All right. Ms. Ricketts, we'll have a roll call vote to approve the renewal of the contract.
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi, Cuddington?
Yes.
Sylvester?
Yes.
Calendino?
Yes.
O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne?
Yes, very good, motion carries. Thank you. Next, Ms. Ricketts, the MML liability insurance renewal.
I am requesting to renew our policy with the Michigan Municipal League Liability and Property Pool at a cost of $1,206.
No. Let's make that a little higher.
$100,353. That pretty much covers everything and anything. City buildings, liability,
Vehicles.
employee dishonesty,
Oh, wow.
fire equipment, police equipment, radios,
Very
et
good.
cetera, et cetera.
Council, any questions on the contract? You had a chance to review it in your packets?
They have served us very well through the years.
Yes, we've been with them quite a few years.
Then it would require a motion to approve the renewal of the lease, the agreement.
I move that we approve the renewal for MML insurance.
Support.
Moved by Mr. Calendino, supported by Mr. Sylvester. Council, any discussion on the matter? Very good. Ms. Ricketts, will have the roll call vote, please.
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi Cuddington?
Yes.
Sylvester?
Yes.
Calendino?
Yes.
O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne?
Yes, very good. Motion carries. Next item, item C.
I am requesting to purchase an HDSD encoder. We originally did include that request in our bid when we upgraded all our recording equipment and everything. When we broadcast this out through our current Comcast and WOW channels, it's a little obsolete, and it gets, even though we're broadcasting HD, they're shooting it through regular, and it's blurry and not very good. So we need to get an encoder at the cost of $2,795 from Radiant Communications Corporation. There's limited availability of where to get this encoder. Comcast told me where to get it from them. And this funds is from the Cable Revenue Fund, which is the purpose of those funds. And I don't know what that balance is, but it's gotta be at least still $20,000 or so.
Yeah, we spent
Anyway.
28 on the upgrade, and we were right around 40, high 40s with the
Yeah,
original.
but, and that's basically mostly what about all you can use that cable money for anyway, so it's just part of the upgrade, a belated addition, part of the upgrade that we did.
Ms. Ricketts, is that for 1 year, or is that?
This is a one-time purchase.
That's equipment.
One-time purchase, a piece of equipment.
Okay.
So, and we should have rightfully got it when we did the whole upgrade, but we didn't realize that we didn't have one. So we had to do consulting after the fact to see that we needed that piece of equipment. So,
I
Council.
move that we purchase the HDSD encoder as outlined by Beth.
I'll support it.
Moved by Calendino, supported by Mr.
Ken.
Sikora. And, council, any discussion on the matter?
I got an excuse.
Very good. We'll take the roll call vote, please.
Sikora?
Yes.
Did you vote?
Torenzi? Cuddington?
Yes.
Sylvester?
Yes.
Calendino?
Yes.
O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne?
Yes, very good. Thank you. The motion carries. I don't know what happens there. For some reason, I look at you and say Ken, but I want to see Mr. Sikora. So, all right, we'll figure it out. Okay. Anything from the DDA?
Wait.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you have something else, Mr. Ricketts?
We didn't make a motion for our CDBG allocation, so I am requesting a motion for the CDBG allocation in the amount of $9,298, brick and mortar to be spent on fire hydrants, $550 to Care House, Macomb County Warming Center, McBrest, and Turning Point, each of them $550, and then the library, $600.
I'll make a motion to approve the request as just presented by Ms. Ricketts.
Support.
Very good. It's been moved by Mr. Sikora, supported by Mr. Sylvester. Council, any discussion on the matter? Very good. Ms. Ricketts, will have the roll call vote, please.
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi Cuddington?
Yes.
Sylvester?
Yes.
Calendino?
Yes.
O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne?
Yes, very good. Thank you. The motion carries. Ms. Ricketts, anything further from the admin office?
That is it for me, thank you.
Perfect. Nothing today from the DDA, I don't believe, Mr. Calendino, you said on the DDA, anything from there?
Parcel C, the DDA did vote to move forward with the sale of Parcel C to GSE.
That's correct. So at our last council session, we did talk about a parcel that is standing on the east side of the Clinton River, on the north side of Auburn Road, right in that crux right there. And it was agreed, a verbal agreement at this point between us and GSE, which is General Sports Entertainment, otherwise Jimmy John's Field and their business interest, that we would sell that property for $102,500. I was in communications with Andy Appleby today. He said he is either secured a lease agreement or in the process of securing a lease agreement with the DMC, the Detroit Medical Center, for a physical rehab or physical therapy office in that location. I think they have either completed it or they are right about to complete it. So that's the progress that we have in that area so far. So hopefully before too long, you should see a new structure standing over there, hopefully this summer or later on. So that would be it from the DDA, I think, at this point. I know the DDA is looking very strongly at doing very intense upgrades to our parks, mainly Grant Park, with a very serious increase to the basketball court area, installing pickleball courts and upgrade to the tennis courts. So Grant Park should be getting a very nice facelift here, a much needed and timely manner, also with the fencing around the basketball court. So the DDA is very seriously looking at spending money, which is the purpose of the DDA is to actually improve those parcels within the downtown development area. And the parks all fall into that area. So the DDA has the money, and it's now time to use some of that money to good use, or put it to good use, and that's investing in our parks. So we're gonna be doing basketball pole upgrades, tennis court upgrades, pickleball upgrades. And it may not happen tomorrow, but this is something that the wheels are definitely turning. So these improvements should take place either this year or next, would be my guess. So, going forth, Parks and Rec Commission, we already dealt with that. The Historic District Commission, nothing to report this time. Moving on to our city attorney, Ms. Linda McGrath-Blue. She has something in reference to our Comfort Inn false alarm waiver request.
So, as you're aware, we assess property owners in the city fines for having false alarms at their property. The first and second alarms have no fee. They receive a warning. The third false alarm receives a $500 fine, the fourth a $900 fine, and the fifth a $1,300 fine. The Comfort Inn in 2016 had a series of 9, it looks like, false alarms there, and their fines came to $7,900. I've been working on this for pretty much since I took over as city attorney, trying to negotiate a resolution with Comfort Inn. We recently have reached a tentative agreement where it would settle for $3,900. We're in a situation where this cannot be added and collected by the county if we were to add it to taxes. So absent some sort of resolution at this point, we'd be looking at a lawsuit. There's obvious costs and expenses with doing a lawsuit. Our fees are pretty, I would say, heftier than perhaps our neighboring communities. But I remind council that that's because, when our guys go out, those are hard costs that the city is incurring when they send a truck out, and we've called in people to report to a potential fire. So, in the course of negotiating, I did, because the Comfort Inn had suggested that we were collecting a windfall with these fines, Chief Wilczek did compile the actual costs incurred on those runs, and they were $11,384.25.
So they're more than the fine?
More than the fine, yeah. But at this point, we're talking about runs that were over 2 years ago, and the cost of litigation would potentially eat up any revenue that we would get from these fees, and I would recommend that we settle that for that amount.
Council, any discussion?
If we agree to the reduction and accept the $3,900 payment, is the owner of Comfort Inn on notice that there will never be another deal like this again?
I will relay that message.
Okay, and that if the alarms didn't work, that's his responsibility to get them fixed,
I will relay that message.
so. That would be a stipulation that strongly gets
Call for alarms
relayed
again, the
to
dates.
management.
So this is a string of false alarms in 2016. What's been our experience in 2017, and 2018 with them? I'm assuming they made some improvements in their alarm system.
Yeah, they did, and all these fees, like I explained to the attorney, the Michigan Fire Chiefs Association has a regular guide that we go off of. They compile maintenance of trucks, maintenance of, what you pull on these fires, like if our aerial's going out, how we just spent close to $20,000 last year on the hydraulics, so it's wear and tear on our trucks. But the fees that I compiled, that was the actual cost, our manpower and the truck fees that were responded to his business.
And part of the reason why it's so expensive is when something like this goes off, you need to send a full, it's
You
an
get a
all-call.
full complement.
It's
It
an
goes out
all-call.
as a general
Every
alarm
truck,
because it's a building fire.
Because if it were real, you'd have to have everyone there.
Yes.
You can't pretend like it's not real every time.
Right. Again, and the comment there is that we were out there twice in one day, within 8 hours, and your alarm went off again. It's not our problem, it's their problem, so.
I think it's very important that Councilman Secora's point was underlined and emphasized to them.
That will definitely be relayed.
Yeah, I've sat in the audience many times where residents have problems with their water bills, and justifiably, we hold them to those bills. I get why, this probably wouldn't wash out with legal fees and everything else, but it is kind of concerning that, hard cost of $11,000, and what is the final deal we're willing to make,
3,900.
3,900.
where we don't really do that with our residents, when they come to us for other things. So, just a comment. I get why we need to do it, because the legal costs, but as a matter of principle.
And I think the water bills can go on the tax and be collected by the county, if I'm correct on that,
That
Mr.
is
Kindermaster?
correct.
So there's a collection remedy that's a much cheaper alternative with regard to the water bills.
All right, council, any further discussion on the matter? Okay. It would require a motion to go ahead and settle this matter.
I'll make a motion to settle it as we just discussed.
Moved by Sikora,
Support.
supported by Calendino. Ms. Ricketts, will have the roll call vote, please.
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi? Cunnington?
Yes.
Sylvester?
Yes.
Calendino?
Yes.
O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne?
Yes. Very good, the motion carries, thank you. Ms. McGrath, anything else?
No, that'll be it, thank you.
All right, thank you. Anything from the Senior Housing Steering Committee, Chief? Nope, okay, very good, nothing at this time. The bills payable, council bills have been presented to you in your packets. If there's any questions on that, we can address them now. Otherwise, it would require a motion to go ahead and approve to pay the bills as presented.
I'll make the motion to pay the bills.
Support. Moved by Cunnington, supported by Mr. Sikora.
Yeah.
Any discussion on the bills? Very good. Ms. Ricketts, will have the roll call vote to pay the bills, please?
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi? Cunnington?
Yes.
Sylvester?
Yes.
Calendino?
Yes.
O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne?
Yes, very good. Thank you. Motion carries. Let's pay the bills. At this time, we've reached the end of our council meeting. Anyone that would like to address council at this time on any matter that you feel that you'd like to have council hear your voice on? You're certainly welcome to make your way to the podium to address council this time.
Chieftains?
Very good. Okay, so then it would require a motion to go ahead and for adjournment.
I move to adjourn the meeting.
Support.
So we got the two new guys. We got. Moved by O'Donnell, supported by Calendino. All those in favor?
Aye.
You guys learn quick.
That's right.
All right. 2 hours.
I try to be slow.
2 hours.
Buildings.
Bad.
Not too bad.
Three of you filled out our